Wednesday, we went very in depth into the settings and learning about features. And today we've condensed it down. We'll show you where the settings are at, and I'll talk about some of the common features that you'll find there. But then we're just going to go straight into showing you how to schedule a meeting. And then we'll spend a little bit of time as an activity for you guys to all go into your own account and create a meeting and invite us to it. And we'll test out you being the host.
Will there be a time to ask questions?
Yes, definitely. And as we go, it's definitely, raise your voice, let us know if you have a question, and we'll pause and address that on the spot.
I'd like to put questions into the chat just because that way I don't have to interrupt people.
Pete,
That sounds great.
Pete raised his hand though.
Yeah, that was it. I'm glad that we're going to be using the chat.
Awesome.
Well, you guys
All right.
want to get started?
You know, one thing I've noticed in other meetings is that people don't check the chat. So I had a meeting with about 15 people yesterday, and people were using chat for issues that they want to address and questions that they have, but the facilitator wasn't checking the chat.
Yeah, that can be an issue at times, definitely. We won't have that issue. If you're ever the host and you're having that problem, a very quick thing you can do to fix that is you can hit the Alt key on your keyboard. And what that will do is that will fix the toolbar to the bottom of your screen, and it won't go away anymore. And then when you see the toolbar, you can then see the bright orange chat box when a new message is there. If the toolbar is not there, you won't see it flashing orange.
So you hit Alt what?
Yeah, you just press Alt once and it will fix it. Make sure that your Zoom window is highlighted though.
Just Alt, not Alt, anything else.
Yeah, just press Alt once and it should pop your bar up. Hit it again and it'll make it go away.
Okay.
And that'll be useful when I present, because when I'm in present mode from a PowerPoint, I'll be able to post closed captionings. And if you wanted to be able to see those, the Zoom toolbar might be in the way. So again, if you hit Alt, it'll toggle between it being there and it not being there.
All right. So that first question, whose question was that? That was you,
Pete.
Peter?
Yeah, no. I asked the question, but Pete has something he wants to say.
Okay. Go ahead, Peter.
I have two things to say. One is I have to leave at 2:15 for half an hour to get the poetry group going, and then I'll come right back. And secondly, I have a Mac, and sometimes your keyboard expressions are going to be different for a Mac.
Yeah.
Peter, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'll talk louder. I have a Mac, and I have to disappear for half an hour.
Thank you.
That's fine. We're planning on having this wrapped up at 2, and we start that other virtual drop-in tech help session, which towards the end of this meeting we'll post the link for. You're welcome to join that one as well.
Okay.
All right, so let's introduce ourselves. My name is Leah. I'm president here at Tech Pals, and this is Joshua. He's our senior tech. And like I said, I'm going to share my screen.
Josh, we're getting a person who says she's getting feedback that the meeting hasn't started.
Leah, can you make me co-host so I can control the mics?
Yes. There you are.
All righty, go ahead, Leah. If you have questions, please post them in the chat because everyone is muted.
Okay, so this is Tech Pals Presents Zoom. This is going to be a bit of a Zoom Lite version. We're going to go through the basic features, scheduling a meeting.
Second, Leah. So that same trick I taught you guys with the Alt key or the corresponding Mac key, you'll want to go ahead and hit it and make sure that the toolbar is gone, because just during the slideshow, unfortunately, we have closed captioning available for you. So you will be able to read along with what we are saying. So if you want to hide that toolbar, it will give you that ability to see.
Thanks, Josh. So as Peter pointed out, some features and settings will vary depending on the device that you're on, including shortcut keys. So we're going to go through setting up a meeting. You can either set up a meeting to be new instantly. You can schedule a meeting. We're going to go through the different settings of a meeting, including waiting rooms. We're going to talk a little bit about security, passwords, whether you want them or not, what Zoom bombing is, reporting and removing participants, and locking a meeting. We're going to talk about a little bit about the paid versus the free account and your differences in some of the features there. Hold on. So we're going to talk about whether or not there's a time limit for the recording. In the free account, there's a 40-minute time limit for when you have 3 or more people on there. Recording with the paid account, you can record to the cloud as opposed to just recording onto your device. Also, you can make someone a co-host with the paid account and give them the same controls that the host would have. And you also have access to Zoom support with the paid account. So breakout rooms is another thing that people have expressed interest in learning about. Next Wednesday at 1 p.m., we're going to host a Zoom meeting that's going to be all about breakout rooms, how to create them, and the different settings. And then if anyone is interested, we also have virtual game time. This is Wednesday at 6 p.m. We're hosting it. And then also with the Longmont Senior Center, Thursday at 1 p.m. And we play games like Pictionary, Balderdash, which is really fun. Basically, you get a word and you make up definitions and you try to fool people into picking your definitions. There's Jackbox TV, which has an assortment of all different kinds of games. And then there's playingcards.io, which is a website that has a whole bunch of games there as well, board games and card games. So that is our little presentation here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And Josh is going to walk us through some things on the Zoom website.
Yes, I am.
Titles
So
that
I'm going.
necessary. Why are they there for?
What's that?
The subtitles. Why are they there?
Some people have a hard time hearing.
And we post the recordings online, so it reaches a much greater audience.
We're in the process of looking for a stenographer at the moment, and we're going to be, as we start posting these videos to YouTube, we will be adding subtitles to them, just because it's the right thing to do, and also ADA standards would require it as well.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, so I'm going to start by sharing my screen and give you guys a basic run view of how to get to the settings and then some of the more common features you'll find in there. But I won't dive deep into the settings or we'll be stuck there for 20 minutes. So you guys can all see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go to Zoom.us. The best way to,
Can you zoom in your screen?
I will. It's zoomed in here already. So as you'll see, it's going to look much different when I'm at 100%. I'll see the ability for me to sign in over here in the top right. Sign up for an account if you've never created one. Join or host a meeting. What I'm going to do is go to sign in. But first, if you ever need to zoom in on your browser, you can do so by hitting these three dots on the right, on the top right, just under your X. And then you'll see zoom right here. I'm going to take that to 175% because I think that's optimal for this presentation. I'm going to hit sign in. And typically you would enter your information here if you have an account. Otherwise, you'll need to create one. As you'll see, my information is automatically inside there. I will hit sign in. Now, it usually will take you the first time directly to your profile, which is this panel on the left here. If I want to go to settings, it'll be at the very bottom of the personal on the left here. We'll click on that so we can go into this again. Now you'll see it zoomed back out on me, so I'm going to have to re-zoom in again for you guys. And in order to go into the settings, you have three options. I have my meeting settings, my settings for recording, which has some very basic information. Essentially, one of the differences here between a paid account and a free account is a free account can only record to your device or your PC, and a paid account gives you the ability to record to the cloud without taking up device storage. Telephone is also another option that is only available for paid customers. What that means is people have the ability to call into our Zoom meetings by calling in with their landline and providing a password. I'm going to be in meeting settings though. The more common meeting settings you'll find here, especially if you're wanting to learn how to do breakout rooms and things like that, is you'll find co-host, turning on your co-host, turning on breakout rooms, turning off or on the chat, saving your chat after the meeting. There's the co-host. However, you won't see co-host in a free account. Co-host is only available for a paid account. Same goes with polling. Polling is only a paid option. Screen sharing is available to everyone, and you can turn that feature on or off in here. Annotation and whiteboard are all options you can do. Remote control is what allows you to take over someone else's PC for helping them with problems or tech-related issues. Reporting participants to Zoom is nice. Let's say somebody happened to get the meeting ID and password and they're coming in to try to cause a ruckus. You can report them and you can remove them. Breakout room is available to also free accounts, free and paid. So if you want to be able to do a breakout room, you first would want to go in here to turn it on. Closed caption is only a paid version. Virtual background, you need to have a pretty decent computer to be able to do
Gosh,
it.
where are you? And I didn't see that when I went to settings,
See what?
the breakout room option.
So this is something that you would have to enable. You didn't see it
Are
in
you-
settings?
Are you in your setting? Give me a second, Leah. Are you in settings on your Zoom app or are you on the browser?
Just hear me out. I went, before the meeting, I went to my little camera, which I have on my desktop of Zoom, and I hit settings, and I saw nothing about breakout.
Now, that's what I mentioned at the beginning. you want to go to the browser and log into your Zoom account on your browser, because you have a lot more access to settings and features that aren't available through the app. You want to go into the settings through your browser. So I can keep going down here. Virtual background, I can't do it with my computer. It's not good enough, but you need something with at least like an i7 processor in it. And otherwise, a computer that doesn't have an i7, you can still do a virtual background. However, it requires a green screen behind you to be able to handle it. Webinar is only for paid accounts. And that's really, you can turn on or off the waiting room here if you don't like people needing admittance, or if you forget to admit people to the group. Live streaming is only available for paid. That's, I think that I'm trying to make sure there's nothing else here. That's it. That's the end of it.
Josh?
Yes.
If I get the premium account, do I still have the back door into the browser, or can I go to my my app?
You still need a backdoor in the browser.
Why is that?
Ask the developers. So now we're going to go into scheduling a meeting, now that I gave you a basic rundown of what you'll find in the settings. So give me 1 second. I got somebody in the background here. So we'll schedule a meeting right here. It takes you straight to the meeting tabs, My Meetings. And then from here, you have topic. You can change this to the name of whatever you'd like it to be. So for the sake of what we're going to be doing on Wednesday, I will go ahead and call this meeting a breakout room discussion. Description: learn how to create a breakout room. Learn how to create a breakout room. Learn how to manage breakout room settings. And learn how to assign people, to rooms and start the breakout session. When? We can click on the calendar here and it will pop up a very lovely calendar for me. And we'll say next Wednesday at 1 p.m.
I tried that and I couldn't get a 1:15.
They only break it down into 30-minute sessions, as you see here. We ran into the same problem when we first started Zoom as well.
Okay.
You can start the meeting earlier. Go ahead.
Actually, if you highlight over the minute parts, you can type in a time.
No, you can't. I
Oh,
tried.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you can. It just went for me. Yeah, you have to type it and then press enter after you put it in.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can even make it for 142 as I just did there. So, but we're going to make this for 1 p.m. next Wednesday, a 1-hour session, recurring. If I wanted to, I could make this happen once a day, or I could make it happen once a week. And that's pretty basic there. I don't want this to be recurring, no. Just do one Zoom discussion on that.
I found that it's useful to have a recurring meeting without a specific time so that I can reuse that that meeting ID for a given topic. For example, the poetry meeting is this one, and it may happen, in a month. It may happen in 6 weeks, etc.
Yeah, I would say that that's actually a really good idea. And I thank you for that feedback because I hadn't thought of that. But my only concern with that goes is if you start gaining a lot of traction with your group, you end up opening yourself up to Zoom bombing. And that's one of the great things about doing a randomly generated meeting ID every time you start a meeting is that it really protects you. But I would say if you're small potatoes, like even tech pals, I don't see us dealing with anyone trying to terrorize our lesson plans yet.
The issue that I have to contend with is getting an ID out to a lot of people who are varying degrees of checking their email or remembering an email.
That makes perfect sense. And I have had a handful of people that I've helped get onto Zoom for the first time that they are fairly computer illiterate and they have to log in with a meeting ID and password. Going through the whole email option and all of that usually ends up making things more difficult. It's easier sometimes to just put a Zoom icon on their desktop, have them open it, have them go to join meeting, and then put the meeting ID and password. So I hear you on that, and that would make a lot of sense with recurring meetings, absolutely, and thank you for that.
Can I put the Zoom US on my desktop instead?
As a browser link, yes, you definitely could. You would want to just, let me show you how to do that real quick. I can bookmark the tab if I'd like, scheduling a meeting, Zoom, and I can decide which bookmark I'd want. That's one option. And then the other option is I can create a shortcut for my desktop. And I would want to copy the address bar up there. And I would want to go to my desktop. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you on this because I'm on a Chromebook.
But you did say that Chrome was better than Firefox for.
Yes.
And
Chrome is the best. However, the big thing that I've ran into when I'm teaching people is that the Chromebook, or excuse me, Chrome is only useful to really download it. If you can get somebody to download the Zoom client, install it, and have it ready to go, then it doesn't matter where they get the link from. And Chrome it doesn't matter at that point either because you're going straight through the Zoom application as long as you know the password and ID. Otherwise, you're getting the link and clicking on the link.
The other thing you can do is you can just drag the address to the desktop.
Yes. So let's see, sorry, I'm getting a little bit lost here because I got this bar in my way.
When I updated my Zoom, it actually put an icon on my desktop.
Yeah, and that's dependent upon what device you're using. A Windows PC will generally automatically put the icon on your desktop. However, I have a Chromebook. I have to open up my launcher here for my Chromebook. You see I have Zoom here, but I could just search it on my Chromebook, and there it is right there. On a Mac, it's a little different. You would find it in your applications, and if you have it set up, you would have it on your desktop as well, but they operate a little bit differently. So let's see, I'm going to go back to my account. I was in the middle of scheduling a meeting. Put this guy back at the top. Nope, schedule a meeting. We named it. We had the description. We put the time, talked about it being a recurring meeting. You can turn off the requirement for a meeting password, which can be really nice as well if you're dealing with people that don't do well with a lot of steps. You can just
Turn it off.
Yeah, you can reduce one step by taking that off, which is, I use that for a lot of my one-on-one remote sessions. I turn my passwords off for a lot of those, especially if it's their first time in Zoom. Here, this is only gonna pop up if you have a paid version. If you have a free version, you will only see computer audio. However, since I have a paid account, we have the ability for people to call into these meetings with their landlines. I have a bunch of the settings I kind of showed you guys before. I can allow people to join before me. I can turn on or off the waiting room. I can pre-assign people to breakout rooms here. I can quickly create a breakout room, which I'd go into here and I would have to first hit my plus sign. And I could add direct participants in here by putting their email addresses, and if they are in my contacts, it would already do it. But as they join, it would automatically put people into these breakout rooms as soon as you start them, and it would have them pre-assigned to that room.
A question,
Go ahead.
sorry. If I'm in a meeting with 25 people and it's two-wieldy, I want a breakout room. So I go to that, and how do I add the participants? I could take them out of the list of people who are on that particular group.
Next Wednesday.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you,
I'm
Mark.
just giving you a brief one here. You do have the ability, once you've enabled breakout rooms, you do have the ability to create them in the creation of a meeting. But first you have to enable it before you'll see that. And you'll also want to keep in mind that any scheduled meetings that you have made, and then you go and you change your settings, you'll want to go and edit each of those meetings individually, so that way you will be able to update the settings, because by proxy, you created those meetings before you changed your settings, if that makes sense. And you can have alternative hosts as well, which you have to have them as licensed users. So if you have a paid account, usually a pro account only comes with one single account, but otherwise you need to pay for each additional user on top of that. So that's probably not something anyone will deal with either. That's really it. I'd like to open it up to questions, and I would also like to have you guys mess around with your settings and ask questions as you do so as well.
There's a way of scheduling where you have an option to put it on your calendar, and they prompt you for which calendar you have. And that was one of the questions that I entered in as on the chat. When I tried doing that with the Google Calendar, every time I do it, it asks, Google says, is it all right to allow Zoom access to your calendar? And I say yes, and then I get a security notice from Google saying, you've just allowed Zoom access to your calendar. Is there any way of giving access in general, or do you know the details on that? If you don't know, then let's just put it aside.
What kind of device are you using?
Windows PC, Windows 10.
Okay, there is a way to provide access to those outside of that.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'm not on a Windows machine right now, so I can't.
All right, let's defer it. It's a detailed question. I can deal with it.
If you have a couple minutes, drop into the tech session, and
Okay.
you'll very quickly get that handled.
So we have somebody, Sarah, when did you move into Fraser?
Yes, this is, you're muted, by the way, Sarah. This is one of our volunteers, Sarah. She's been with us for a couple weeks now.
Hi.
I think Diane's got a question.
I wonder what the cost is for a paid account.
$14.99 a month.
That's quite a bit a year.
You're,
I'm going to join as soon as we get off.
Well,
If,
I actually have been setting up a family reunion with a free account. And most of the time, they give me extended time. So, you know, who wants to pay if they're going to give you that anyway?
Yeah.
But sometimes they cut you off after 20 minutes, and sometimes.
That's something that we would be happy to discuss with you if you were interested. I'm actually hosting a memorial service for a family member I lost recently through our Zoom account, and that's something we've kind of discussed. And we'd have to discuss it with a couple of our board members, but we'd be open to the idea of hosting a meeting for you through our account, so that way you could have a reunion without time limits.
How would,
We
How would
would
you
be
do that?
interested in at least talking about that.
Josh? How would-
Yeah, our next one, they
Hold on,
actually gave us
Louise.
unlimited.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Just when you're done, Louise also has a question. Go ahead, Diane.
Yeah, I just said, for my next one, next reunion on the 31st, they've given us unlimited time. I think to make up for cutting us off after 20 minutes.
I've
Because I'm all
gotten
set.
unlimited time too, sometimes when I do meetings.
If it's only 2 people, you'll always have unlimited time.
Well, more than 2 people. Like they'll say like they sent you a gift and then they'll like give you unlimited time and then they'll like give deals and stuff for free.
All right, let's get to
Interesting.
Louise's question.
Louise, go ahead. Oh, you're muted. All right, start over.
Thank you. Are you automatically muting everybody and then they just once in a while get to talk? What is your format for today?
Oh, no, anytime you have a question, you can unmute yourself. We had everyone muted when we were presenting to eliminate like some background noise. But yeah, you could just jump in.
Okay,
Or if
but
you have a question.
I unmute myself using that bar because there's nothing on that bar that says unmute yourself, is there?
Yeah, so all there is when you're looking at that bar, let me share my screen so I can show you again.
There's one-
Fortunately, I can share you my Zoom screen with you while I'm on a Chromebook. So here you'll see my action bar. Let me close this box. My action bar at the bottom, right?
Yes,
Here's the mute button right here.
right down there.
Yep, exactly. Same with video. You can turn your video off and on with this one right here. Let's say somebody's in your background and they don't want to be seen on camera. So you turn it off while they're in the room with you.
Fine.
Unless you're the host, you won't see the security. The security is where you will find the ability to lock a meeting, allow people to rename themselves, turn the chat off and on, and allow people to share their screens. Managing participants is great because this is where you can mute people. I can choose to mute this person or unmute them. I can also rename them. I can put them in a waiting room. I can stop their video, or I can allow them to record as well. Chat is right here. Chat is a great place for everybody to really see what's going on and have an idea of what people are talking about, and probably one of the better places to put your questions, because then we know that we can get back to it. Share is great. That's what I just used in order to be able to share my screen with you. Whenever you share, likely from another device, you'll have options of sharing your desktop, sharing a whiteboard, and then even further, we have the ability to allow remote control. So we can then, if somebody shares their screen with us, it can give us access, and then we can use the screen to control your computer. That's a great feature for helping people, especially. But I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now.
I've got a question on the co-hosting back there. At one point, Mark Sobel here started a meeting and then he had car trouble and he asked me to open that meeting. If he had designated me as a co-host, I could have done that. Is that right? As it was, I had to quickly start another meeting. So
So start over. I think I missed a little bit of the beginning.
Let me I think what she's asking is, before the meeting starts, could I assign her as a co-host? And I think the meeting has to be started before you can assign co-host. So
Yeah, exactly.
unfortunately, I was under time pressure. And this is a situation, I'm going to go a little bit into this, but it's a situation that does come up from time to time. And I could have started the meeting before I left, but I had car trouble and was really rushed. The problem with starting a meeting like that is that if a meeting is inactive for 40 minutes, even with a paid account, they will close it. So I would have had to start it, assign her, Louise as a co-host, and she would have had to be in the meeting in order to be assigned. And then she would have had to keep it going by doing some kind of action until the meeting really started. So it was a little bit more complicated than just assigning a co-host.
So in my opinion, and if this is saying that you trust the person, giving them your login information in that scenario is probably the best way to handle that technical difficulty. But yeah, that's what I would say. You really have to trust that person. You could always, make a temporary password. But that's the only thing I can really think of to get around that, honestly, without having additional licensed users. Because if you have additional licensed users, then you can have alternate hosts.
Okay. All right. So I'm a licensed user and Louise is a licensed user. Can I when I'm scheduling the meeting, can I make her an alternate host at that point?
Yes.
Excellent. We'll try that. If it
That would have meant I could have gone in and started the meeting.
right, excellent.
Right. I think Peter has a question.
Yes, thank you. I'm following up on Louise's question about how to mute and unmute yourself. If you put the cursor in the top right corner of your screen, just showing where you are, you can see a mute and unmute.
Mine is down at the bottom.
It's
Yeah,
also,
so what he's saying is, so let me show you a few more things now that we can segue a little bit. Share my screen again. Window. All right, so you can't see it on my screen. However, you will see it on your screen. Right up here by the full screen and the settings bar should be a button that says Gallery View. Do you see that?
Says what?
Gallery View. Oh, actually, no, you won't see it because I'm sharing. So I'm going to stop sharing quickly. I'm going to stop sharing quickly, but keep your eye up there, okay? Now, in the top right, do you see speaker view, a box that says speaker view?
Yes.
Right. If you move your cursor, it appears.
Yeah. Or if you hit the Alt key, like I told you, to lock the toolbar. Speaker view will allow you, gallery view will allow you to see everybody at once. And if you click it again, it goes back into speaker view. However, while you're in gallery view, if you find your picture and you hover over to the top right of it, you will also see a mute button there as well.
Who's that muting? Me?
Yeah, that will, if you hover over your own picture, it will mute you. I always have gallery view on. I like to see everybody.
What is when you click on the menu, the three dots, you're given a bunch of choices. What is pin video?
Pin video is great. So as you'll see, I don't really have a whole lot of options, but pin video, just let's say that person is the speaker and you only want them to be up. It's only doing it for your camera though. So it's not like it's not like the host can pin a video for everyone to see. It's just per one. So if I want to make you the person I always see, I can do so. And you just click it again and it'll turn it off. All right. That's really it. Whenever you enable the breakout rooms, you'll have options on the bar down here. Only the host can do breakout rooms. So even if you make a co-host, the co-host cannot do breakout rooms. When you do the paid account, another thing to know, You can do a poll for the specific meeting you're in on the fly. However, you have to do it by going onto the Zoom website and editing the meeting. And at the very bottom of editing a meeting, as long as your account is a paid account, you will see add a polling option.
Add a what? Say again.
Add a polling option.
Polling. We just say, if you raise your hand if you want this
What is the
in
poll
gallery
option?
view.
That's so I'll show you again real quick. Another quick demo. So I'm going to go to my meetings. First, I'll go to my account or meetings right here. There we go. And then I'll open meetings. I want to reopen it here. There's my meetings. It already has one open. Let me go back here though. So when you go to my meetings, it'll show you all of your meetings you have here. And as you can see, I'm going to show you guys one very quickly. I'll go to this one, which is the meeting we're in right now. So if I just go all the way to the very bottom, it says poll. You have not created any poll yet. If I press the add button, I can have a title for the poll, choose whether people are submitting anonymously or not. I can have the question, decide to make it a single choice answer or multiple choice. And you can do 10 options per answer. You can also have multiple polling questions per meeting as well.
Okay.
As long as I hit save on that, it would create a polling option for me right now in this meeting.
Can you when you schedule a meeting that hasn't started yet, can you add a poll at that point?
Yes, first you need to create the meeting and save it, and
Right.
then go to edit and scroll to the bottom.
Okay. Second question, where do the poll results go?
They go directly to the host. The host, whenever everyone answers, will get the amount and say, oh, 60% this, 30% this, whatever.
But is it in the form?
The host can also then share the polling results with the rest of the group.
Okay. And is it in a format that it can be saved?
Yes, I believe all of the polling options are sent to your account after the meeting.
Okay,
Like
thank you.
your post-Zoom, whatever you call that, dossier or whatever. Post-Zoom report, there we go.
We have 15 minutes. Do you think you can take us through the alternate host assignment?
Yes, let's mess with that. Because honestly, I haven't done it yet because Leah and I only share one paid account. So we haven't
Okay.
added, so we'll try adding you and see if that works. How about that?
All right.
Edit meeting. No, let's go to, first I want to go back though and find a meeting that we're not in the middle of right now. This one. Edit this meeting.
All right. I just put my email address into the chat.
Great. I don't see it. Did you send it
I
privately to
just sent it
somebody?
to
or-
you.
I'm sorry. I sent it to Tech Pals.
I'm great.
I
great.
got it.
I got it. All right. So it's not, you're not a user in my Zoom account. So I think what we need to do is we would have to go into the settings. We'd get completely out of here
Right.
and you'd have to go to users. Users is underneath admin, user management. And add users. However, this is, We only see you can add 0 more licensed users. I would have to purchase another licensed user for my account before I can have an alternate host.
You're not worth $140.
No, absolutely not.
Or you can
Right.
dump somebody you already have, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I take from that is that we can't use this for the purpose we wanted to. Okay.
Well, except I am licensed, Mark, so you could use me.
Well, but I'm not sure. I'll experiment it. But what
I'm
you
going to
just
do more research as well because this is a bit of a topic that's I'm a little unknowledgeable on.
right? It's yeah, and you can email us either a video, email us with the information because this is something that's going to come up a lot because we have people who are running meetings and then we have the Zoom operators. And right now, if you define a meeting, you can't let anyone else start it.
You do have the option, however, to allow people to join the meeting before you.
Okay, show me that.
That would be also where you would disable the waiting room as well, so people just come directly into the meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Diane has a question.
I
Yeah.
wonder how one gets licensed.
That means a paid account.
Well, yeah, not only a paid account, but then you need to add additional users on your account. So you'd pay whatever their fee is. We'll look it up right now. How much does it cost to add a user to Zoom? Cost
Your
of adding
license,
users to a pro account.
it lasts for a year, your pro account.
Right.
Well, you can pay
Then
by the
you're
month or
automatic-
by the year.
Then you're automatically licensed?
What did you say?
Doesn't somebody have to license me?
Well, when I looked up the definition of licensed, it included people on corporate accounts, but also people with pro licenses.
Interesting.
Okay, let's not take up class time researching this.
Yeah, I agree.
Josh.
Yes.
They are,
Real quickly, want to show the whiteboard if no one else has questions?
Louisa was asking a question.
Oh,
we're getting a lot of advertising from Zoom on the, saying you're going to be updated on the first of the month if you haven't already done it. And they were a little slow with that rollout. I tried several times and finally I got one successfully. But what I worry about is I think the writing there says anyone who joins your meeting will be updated as they join after the 30th. Is that correct?
Can you say that question one more time?
I believe it's an automatic update that when you log on again, that it updates your Zoom thing, and it's not something that you're going to have to manually do.
So all the people that come into a meeting that I have organized will, bingo, get the update as they join the meeting.
I believe so. Because I think Zoom made a requirement that you had to have like the encryption if you didn't require the password. And everyone that came in had to get the update. Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I said 5, meaning version 5.
And you can do so. Also, it's gonna look a little differently on yours because I'm on a Chromebook. But I'll show you real quick the.
It was saying one advantage was something about a one-click something or other.
So if you go to your settings, you can go to About. It'll look a little differently on your machine, but that's where you'll find out what version of Zoom you're running.
Oh, there it is, 5 point.
That's the update?
That's the most recent Zoom update. Yeah, 5. I think it's actually 5.2. So I might be a little bit behind, but it's every major version that they require you to be updated for. So 5 is the most recent. Whenever 6 comes out, that's whenever it will require everyone to update as well.
Does anyone want to try to schedule a meeting right now while we're here?
Sure. I did one at 11 this morning. I should have saved it.
I've already scheduled before.
I'm gonna go ahead and start gathering. I'm gonna gather the link for anyone who wants to join the drop-in text session anytime between 2 and 4. You guys can do that.
How do we get the link for continuing?
It's on, it'll be on tech, on the chat, sorry.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to put in, this is going to be a PDF file. It's going to be a couple steps. This is the PDF file from the Longmont Senior Center. So first you'll want to copy that and paste it, or if you have the option to click on it, please do.
Okay.
And you'll see a list of events they have here. You want to go to the bottom one that says Friday 5/22 virtual lab.
Oh,
Got it.
And you guys are going to love it there. There's so many people that come and join there. We have like I said, 20 plus people. And I'm sure if you have a chance to come in, you'll enjoy it. Daryl is one of the main guys from Longmont. He's an absolutely great guy. He's a pleasure to chat with. Any more questions before we finally wrap this up?
looks like Diane has downloaded a background.
Yes, she has a virtual background. She has a pretty decent computer, I'm assuming, which has a graphics card that is able to produce a virtual background without her needing a green screen in the background. However, if you wanted to see if your computer has the ability, I will show you where very quickly. Even though my computer doesn't have the option, I can show you where I would do it. Down here where the video icon is at, there's an arrow right next to it. You click on that, you should see an option for choose virtual background.
No,
No? You
No.
don't see that?
maybe that means I can't do it.
Probably not. You may have too outdated of a PC, unfortunately.
Uh,
That's how you would find out.
I have a PC that doesn't work, but I have a PC that's not powerful enough, but,
You could still do that.
right. And I actually went as far as pricing green screens, but because they're cheaper than an i7. I had one question, which was, what's the AMD, the Ryzen equivalent of an i7?
Oh man, I was just looking at this the other day. Oh, man.
You can email me the answer.
You know,
Yeah, definitely.
this really isn't working, Mark, because we can't see you in front of your background.
I know, that's
That's why he needs a green screen behind him, because the PC power cannot handle the amount of data that has to transfer there. So a green screen would reduce the amount of information behind him, so that way it could actually process all of the data for him.
So you should use the green screen option then too?
well, you have to buy a physical piece of cloth that's the right color green, or you can buy the green paint and paint whatever,
Okay.
paint your whole room.
Or get a
Well, I got
post.
some sort of place thing I can check off, use a green screen or something. Someplace.
Yeah, if you've got a good enough computer, Diane, that you don't need to worry about it.
I have a new laptop. It's about 3 weeks old. Acer.
What kind is it?
Acer.
Is it a
But my
PC?
I have an old Hewlett Packard laptop and doesn't do the virtual background.
But it's a PC.
It's a
Yeah,
laptop, yeah.
it's Windows versus Mac.
The cheapest
They're
I
both
just
Windows,
bought
they're
a new
both Windows, but this one is Windows 10 and the other one's I don't know, Windows 8 or something.
Yeah, I just bought a new PC that has an i7, and we found one for like $400.
Oh,
We had to do some digging. It's a refurbished computer, but it's going to get the job done.
yeah, I have 5 laptops and 2 desktops. I don't think I can justify it just to get a virtual background. And because of the contagion, we don't allow, I can't loan my laptop to someone else. Because
Right.
there's almost no way of sanitizing a laptop.
The only thing you can really do is you could sanitize it the best you could and then leave it in a sealed Ziploc bag for X amount of time, and that would guarantee that the
How
virus.
long?
I believe they say it stays on those types of services for like 48 hours or something. So
Yeah. When I got
Give it
mine in the mail, I got mine in the mail from New York City, where they were in the middle of their big bad virus, and I just
Yeah.
left it sitting out for about 3 or 4 days.
exactly. So if you can do that, just make sure it's sealed up in a bag and not touched by anyone for a few days before anyone else
But
touches it.
I can't be touched by anyone because nobody can come in our apartments.
All right, I think it's about 2:00, so we need to get to our other meeting. Did anyone have any problems accessing that PDF document?
No, I saved it onto my drive, so if anyone needs to get to it, just send me a note and I'll email it to them.
Yeah. And like I said, no pressure. It's not like you need to show up between 2 and 4. It's not a lecture. It's a drop in any time that's comfortable for you and ask us questions and we'll get you taken care of.
That is one-time offer?
Every Friday, 2 to 4 p.m.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Sarah. Good to see you.
The link will change every week. So, next time we speak with you, if you want, Mark, I'll actually start sending you the document that they create every week that's going to have all of that. So that way, if other people even want to join the virtual games, they can.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Hi, everybody.